to change it so that one of the characters is younger and a novice hunter, and also that one of the older characters is his boss. I wanted that kind of hierarchy in their social dynamics.
That makes perfect sense because, hey, the younger novice hunter is maybe more relatable to some people who are watching the movie.
Exactly.
Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass. Today I'm talking to Sarah Gyllenstierna, the director and co-writer of Hunters on a White Field, which premiered at Tribeca Film Festival on June 8th, 2024. I'm going to talk to her right now, and while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. Helps out a lot. Thank you. All right, let's get going. So, thanks so much for joining me today. I've got Sarah Gyllenstierna, the director and co-writer of Hunters on a White Field, which is premiering at the Tribeca Film Festival on June 8th, 2024. It is a tense thriller about hunting, and hunting maybe the most dangerous game. It is a very, very, atmospheric. It has some really great special effects and a lot of tension. Like, you are holding your breath a lot during this movie. So I'm very excited to talk to you, and thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So first question, you are a co-writer on this. Where did this idea come from? And, why do you hate your friends so much? I'm just curious.
It's actually based on a novel. So I adapted, I'm the screenwriter, and I adapted it from the novel. And I had read other books by this author, the Swedish author, that I really liked. But I felt like, as I kept going through his oeuvre, I was like struck by this book. The plot just felt made for a movie in many ways.
Yeah, no, for sure. It has this like perfect build, it kind of like starts off fun, a little bit threatening, but not bad, not bad. And then as it goes, it just kind of gets more and more intense, which is kind of like you said, like the perfect vehicle for a movie. So,
Right.
and as
Yeah. And it's also a great vehicle. The plot is so kind of clear, and it has its intensity and its suspense, which felt great. But then it also allows for all these interesting themes that I really wanted to dig into, and that also excited actors. So that was ideal.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I'm just curious, adapting a novel to a screenplay, I'm assuming that there were some changes that had to be made. Were there anything that you added to kind of make it more interesting for a film, or make it like easier to make into a film, or was this, pretty much the story from the novel that you just kind of translate into how you would make it into a movie?
The story is really close to that of the book. I have not made a lot of some smaller changes. The main changes I've made are to the characters, because in the book, they were all sort of friends and equals, quote unquote, and they were, the same age and had all hunted before. And which makes the story, once you know it, even more absurdist, because there's really it doesn't give any backstory, which I don't do much either in the book. But I really felt the need, as I got into the adaptation, to change it so that one of the characters is younger and a novice hunter, and also that one of the older characters is his boss. I wanted that kind of hierarchy in their social dynamics.
That makes perfect sense because, hey, the younger novice hunter is maybe more relatable to some people who are watching the movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
Sort of our way in to the story, it felt like.
yeah, exactly. You got someone for everyone to relate to.
Yeah.
Um, and so, I assume you were always set to direct this movie. Were you always kind of writing this with the idea that you would get behind the camera and direct it?
Yes.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, you're adapting it. You kind of know what to expect then, so that makes perfect sense. So given that you adapted this, given that you kind of created these characters, the cast is so important, kind of, the characters as you laid them out, having that different level of experience, but also just kind of making sure that they all kind of get together and work together. How did you find your cast? Had you worked with any of them before, or was this all just kind of like a Swedish casting call?
Yeah, I mean, I had never worked with any of them. I had spotted the guy who's the younger guy, Ardalan Esmaili, in in a Danish movie. He is Swedish, but he learned Danish for this part in a Danish movie a few years ago that came out in the States, called The Charmer. And I just thought he was fantastic, and whenever I watch those performances, you watch something that you find exciting, you kind of file it away. So then jump forward to me working on the script, and I'm thinking about who can be this main younger guy who's, I mean, they're all almost equal parts because they're mostly all in the entire movie, but he stays with us a little bit more, I think. And so I thought of him as I was working on it, and we got to shoot a small pilot, a short pilot, and then we got to test out working together. So after the pilot, I decided, I knew that he was the one for that part. But then we hired a casting director to help us cast the other two parts. Because it's only it's a three-hander. So you really needed all of them, not just to be good actors, but to really fit together as these three characters and have certain distinctions and ways to kind of portray those distinctions. And I think she did a fantastic job.
Yeah, no, I think so too. And I was going to ask, this film, their kind of machismo camaraderie throughout the film drives a lot of the fun and tension in this movie. So I was wondering, did you have any chance to like have them get comfortable with each other? Did they, take like a wilderness trip beforehand? Did they have a few, days before shooting to just kind of like, I don't know, hang out and drink and just,
Yeah.
enjoy themselves?
It felt important. Two of them, the two older guys, had worked together, but many years ago and not very long. It wasn't like a job like this where they're together for the entire shoot. So we got together. We had a week of rehearsal, which was really a lot of sitting around talking through the script, all four of us together. And that felt important both for them to get to know each other and for them to get comfortable with me because none of us had worked together before like this. And then when we were on location, they lived together in the same hotel and they mostly did not go home to Stockholm on the weekends. So they really stayed there and kind of kept working on the scenes all the time when they weren't on set.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Keep them out in the woods, keep them out in the mindset. Maybe they get a little bit of cabin fever, which helps with the film also, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you could literally hear, I mean, we were really in the woods. So, as you're going to sleep, you hear these big stags like going off in their various sounds.
That's awesome. That's perfect. Like it keeps them in their mindset. It's almost method acting at that point.
Yeah, I think it helps. They said
And
it.
yeah, for sure. And speaking of this place, where did you find this cabin? Was this somewhere that you had, been before, or did you just like maybe Sweden is full of just like beautiful wood cabins and you were able to go find one because your country's amazing?
I mean, I do think for Swedes, for me and the actors, we talked about this. I mean, most Swedes are really out. It's not that everyone is like really out in nature all the time, but there's a closeness to nature and people are definitely out there. And that's part of what drew me to the story was the chance to be able to show that. But none of us had hunted before. We hadn't really been in this particular area, which was an area that had a lot of deer, a lot of wild boar. So it was a perfect place, and the producers found this amazing area. It's in the southwest of Sweden. So many of us came down from Stockholm, and we have to live on location because it's not close.
Yeah, for sure. And I hear wild boar are actually fairly dangerous. I assume that everything was safe, but was there any concern when you were shooting of like, wild game coming into the shot and like rooting it or causing a delay or anything like that?
I mean, they can get aggressive, but we had consultants who were hunters in that area, and one guy who was a forester, who really took care of the area, who really helped brief us specifically on what to do and what not to do with the boar. And the main thing was like, make sure you don't leave any food scraps behind or anything, because they'll come and flock to us.
Yeah, for sure. Or maybe you want that. Maybe that's a new exciting scene in the movie. It'll insert some chaos into there.
Boars were the one animal I didn't really want in the shots. We ended up getting, because when we were out really shooting, trying to get animal shots, going to areas that we had been told had a lot of animals to be able to intercut that, we did get some shots with some boar, but I ended up not using those, just the deer.
They had to work with their agents to get the approvals. It was probably too tough.
Yeah.
I do hope your first day there, you just like handed the actors 3 rifles and like, all right, well, go get your food. Let's go.
Yeah. No, we had all of them were saying, oh, they've never hunted before, but they've all been in movies where they have guns, but usually as, cop, robber, criminal, whatever, right? So they had some weapons training in that regard, but not really with hunting and rifles so much.
So I'm curious, you had hunters there, you're out, in the wilderness. Did you have any like hunting happen like outside of filming? Maybe to get some food, maybe just to get like some more experience for the actors?
No, they never went on any real hunting. They just spoke with the hunters and hung out with them. but not during any hunting.
That makes sense. I assume there's probably permits or something that is probably very difficult to get. So you don't want
Very
to
much
add
so in Sweden. Yeah,
you
very
don't
much.
want to add additional layers onto a film. That's
Yeah,
just
we don't need any insurance liabilities. Yeah.
exactly. Um, and one thing that was fantastic with this film is the effects were just so good. Like the animal effects. Did you have like a effects house do that? I assume that they were fake, but I don't know. Maybe they were real. I don't know what the
It had
what the
very
laws are like
few
there.
effects in this movie, actually. Most of what you see is in camera.
I,
So
I meant like the actual animals, the animal, like the carcasses, the cleaning of the carcasses. Was that real or
mostly
was that some sort
real.
of process? Oh wow.
Yeah, that's why it looks good. We asked the hunters there if there was one day, I mean, the hunting season had started when we were down there. So we, came to an agreement with them to bring an animal over if, if and when. I mean, they were certain they were going to get something. There were a few, it's like a forestry department in Sweden, which is very regulated in terms of like shooting old animals. Is what you need to do to kind of keep the herd or flock healthy and all that. So there was one that they had singled out. It was an old stag, and that's the one you see in the movie. So we waited till the end when they had that, and they had it in a freezer for us until we were ready to shoot.
Oh wow. And then the food preparation, was that also that stag or was that something else that was brought
Yeah.
in? Okay. I guess yeah. I mean, who knows if that meat's good or not. So it's probably better
Yeah.
to again
Well,
avoid the risk.
the heart that you see in the movie, the deer, that's an actual deer heart, but that we got from the art department got from a butcher in the area because there's hunting in that area.
That's awesome. That's an awesome mix, like kind of using your surroundings and using it to make it seem more real. Because when I saw that, I was like, this looks very real. Like this looks authentic, and apparently it was. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
perfect.
most of it. We
Yeah,
did have a couple of dolls, but I don't want to reveal which ones.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll leave that movie magic for the movie.
Yeah.
So I know we have limited time. I'm going to switch to a lightning round, just lightweight questions about the film. I want to see how your personal experiences map to things in the movie. You can feel free to skip any of them. I won't be offended, but I try to keep them very answerable. First question is, how are you with a gun?
I don't know because I've never shot one.
I love that. A movie where the gun is like integral. You have a shot with that's perfect. The next question I assume is all the same. Like, have you ever hunted? But I'll expand it to like, have you ever hunted or fished or anything like that?
I fished. I grew up fishing. My dad took me fishing. And I particularly like laying nets because I like the being out there on the water and then taking them up in the morning and the dawn and all that. Sitting and fishing with a rod can get a bit too boring. But hunting I had never done, and I still haven't, I haven't actively hunted, but I went on hunting trips and tagged along with hunters in preparation for writing the script.
No, that makes perfect sense. And I wonder if fishing is more interesting now that you got like podcasts. Maybe you could put like a podcast on while you're sitting there. Maybe it'll just be more fun that way.
I think we have a lot of competition, right? This is a very popular thing, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. Um, so the related question, have you ever eaten anything that you've killed?
No.
Not even the fish, or were you catching and
Oh, of
releasing?
course. Yes, sorry. The fish. Yes, I have eaten fish that I have killed or
Perfect.
that nets have killed. But yeah, me, I
And then
guess.
you just relished in that power that you had, I assume.
No, I mean it's I'm a little bit ambivalent, but and I was a vegetarian for a while, but now I'm not. And yeah, I don't
Nice.
think it's an easy question.
No, no, it's not. I mean, it's a tough, thing for some. I've never eaten anything I've killed because it's not something that I've been ever interested in doing. So,
Right.
um, what is the most dangerous thing you have either hunted or been on a hunting trip hunting?
Uh, well, I mean, I went on hunting trips where they hunted deer and wild boar. And so maybe the wild boar, I guess I don't think deer are dangerous at all.
No, I don't think so. I think the most dangerous thing about deer is potentially the ticks that give you Lyme disease. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
this film also had a scene where the guys were playing with some like very ancient relics. Do you have anything that is particularly old that you have in your house or care about?
nothing nearly that old. You know, I have a couple of family heirlooms, but it was interesting as I was writing the script. I thought, you know, I did research on these Stone Age tools to make sure that this was even something, you know, that's around. And I was surprised to find, I went on all these Swedish auction websites. You can find every now and then pops up very ancient tools from the Stone Age looking exactly like those. Now, the art department ended up, some of what you see in the film is from the Stone Age, and the ones that they were going to handle, they made replicas of them. But yeah, that's surprising to me that you can actually purchase things this old.
That is shocking. The wonders of technology, right? Like that's
Yeah.
amazing that you could purchase something like that.
Yeah, market things. So, because I would have thought those were like museum, you know, you could never afford it. But maybe because there's a lot of it and museums don't kind of need to have hundreds of tools that look the same. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I know what I'm going to do after this interview. I'm going to go straight to eBay and see.
I don't know about American eBay, but you know, go to Sweden.
I'll probably get like a fraud replica. So
Yeah.
one of the characters in this was a skeet shooter. Have you skeet shot?
I went to some skeet shooting. Did I ever? And I didn't do it. I just watched them do it. It seemed incredibly difficult.
Yeah,
I feel like once would not be enough to try to even attempt. It's like hitting a golf ball the first time. I'm told, I've never tried that either, other than mini golf, but I'm told it's way harder than it looks.
No, I imagine it looks easy, but yeah, when you're out there trying to track it and get the timing right, it's probably very difficult. Do you own any camouflage?
I do, sort of. I mean, I'm one of those, I had a period where I loved to dress in, when I was younger, loved to dress in like, I would buy old military fatigue stuff. In Sweden, you can go, you know, you go to these old Army Navy type stores. I still have some of that. I like that.
Save it for the sequel where you go out there and join the hunt also. And the last question is, when was the last time, you went camping, were out in the wilderness? I mean, maybe it's all the time. Maybe it's every weekend, right? So maybe that's what Swedish people do.
No, I am not a camper. I didn't grow up camping, but I'm out in nature all the time in Sweden, whenever I can. But then I go into a house to sleep. I have nothing against, I would love to camp, but I've never been close friends with anybody who camped. So, you kind of need to go with someone with experience, I feel. Or, because you're gonna have to purchase all that gear or, so it hasn't come to pass.
And there's something to be said for a hot shower after being in nature. So
yeah.
So the film is premiering at Tribeca Film Festival in America on June 8th, 2024. You are out promoting the film, getting the word out. But after people see Hunters on a White Field, do you have any other projects that they can look forward to? Is there anything else that you have on the horizon?
Yes, hopefully several things, but nothing is really close. But I'm working on a couple of scripts. One is set in New York. It'll be a suspense of some sort in New York.
I do hope you are scouting right now. This is like the perfect opportunity for you to
yeah.
work trip. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you can look forward to those future projects, but first make sure to check out Hunters on a White Field. It's premiering at Tribeca Film Festival on June 8th, 2024. This is Sarah Gyllenstierna, the director and co-writer. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
That was Sarah Gyllenstierna, the director and co-writer of Hunters on a White Field, which premiered at Tribeca Film Festival on June 8, 2024. It is an atmospheric, tense hunting thriller where three men go out in the woods and hunt some very dangerous game. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.